Jasper County Emergency Services are asking for a sales tax increase on the August 3rd ballot.
Anger in the nation's capital after another shooting sent people running for their lives. I'm Mala Rivera in Washington with the latest on the rise in violent crime nationwide and the latest strategy the Justice Department is rolling out to crack down on illegal gun trafficking.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Obby. 2 people are dead after a crash in Mays County, Oklahoma this morning. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol says a car driven by 55-year-old Deborah Stover of Chelsea was eastbound on State Highway 28 when it crossed the center line and hit a car driven by 54-year-old Christopher Ellis of Langley. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. A Galena, Kansas man is dead after a motorcycle crash. Kansas Highway Patrol says 20-year-old Theodore Lane III was driving southbound on State Line Road. Lane left the road, hit a telephone pole, and was ejected from the motorcycle. Another deadly motorcycle accident, this one in Mays County, Oklahoma. Police say 30-year-old Ethan Foster of Pryor, Oklahoma, passed away in a wreck involving a semi yesterday afternoon. The cause of the collision is still under investigation. A Jasper County, Missouri man sentenced to 7 life terms for child sexual abuse has been resentenced to 2 concurrent 12-year sentences. Marcus Yoder pled guilty Wednesday to 2 counts of statutory rape. Yoder was given 7 life sentences back in 2016 after he pled guilty to several counts of statutory rape and statutory sodomy. The guilty plea was set aside in 2020, however, after a judge ruled Yoder did not fully understand the consequences of his plea. Meteorologist Doug Hetty joining us now. TGIF, Doug.
Yeah, it is nice that it is Friday and we are heading into the weekend, but it's going to be a very hot weekend. Our temperatures have been heating up a bit over the past couple days. Finally, today we get where we're supposed to be for this time of the year. 91, average highs 91. We started at 72 during the morning hours. Had a few random little showers earlier today, but right now we look good. We have pretty much clear skies across the region. Not much in the way of rainfall at all anywhere near the entire 4-state area. Most of us right now are sitting near 80, if not into lower 80s. We're going to drop back into the mid 70s a little bit later on tonight. 72 to start, 80 by 10, 89 by noon, hot and humid. High temp at 94, gets hotter. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much, man. The Crawford County Health Department reports 2 new coronavirus deaths in the past week, bringing the county's total deaths to 91 since the pandemic started. The county currently has 274 cases of COVID-19 with another 1,300 people in quarantine as close contacts. Health Department says 21,000 people in the county have gotten at least 1 dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. We're being told high-level talks, as they're being called, are underway with the CDC on the push to bring back universal mask mandates amid a summer spike in COVID-19 cases from the Delta variant. White House says there's still no decision, though, yet. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri has the latest now from Atlanta.
Mixed messaging on mask guidance from the White House as both COVID cases and hospitalizations rise across the country. With nearly half of all Americans fully vaccinated against the virus and some local leaders reinstating mask mandates, the White House is reportedly in talks with the CDC, debating whether vaccinated Americans need to put their masks back on.
We follow the science. What's happening now is all the major scientific operations in this country and the 25-person group we put together are looking at all the possibilities.
But the CDC has not changed its guidance and still says vaccinated people don't have to wear a mask.
We need to encourage vaccination rates among the vulnerable people. Vaccinated people wearing a mask sends the wrong signal.
Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is drawing flack from the Biden administration for declining to mandate masks for kids in school.
We're not doing that in Florida, okay? We need our kids to breathe.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki slamming the governor's decision.
If I were a parent in Florida, that would be greatly concerning to me. Because kids under the age of 12 are not vaccinated. They're not eligible yet.
The new discussions on masks taking place at the White House come after staffers for President Biden and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tested positive for COVID-19 earlier in the week. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
Jasper County Emergency Services is asking for a sales tax increase on the August 3rd ballot. In order to better explain the need for the increase, we're going to break down the existing tax rate and situation in the county and what the increase could mean for 911 services in the county. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
27 years ago in 1994, voters approved a 0.1% sales tax to fund 911 services in Jasper County. That tax has remained unchanged since that time, and Executive Director April Ford says it's time for that to change, and there's good reason for it to change. So here's what they're asking for: an increase of that tax to 0.25%, or basically $2.50 for every $1,000 spent. Now, here's why they're asking for it. Right now, not all emergency personnel in Jasper County can talk to one another by radio. So if a Jasper County deputy needed to reach a Joplin officer, they'd have to go through the dispatchers to relay messages back and forth, which could delay them in time-sensitive emergency situations. The tax increase would allow the county to update its radio systems, add new towers, and allow all agencies in Jasper County to communicate with each other radio to radio. It would also help fund maintenance at the existing Jasper County 911 Center, which is 26 years old.
Chris, thank you. Again, that sales tax question is going to be on the August 3rd ballot. Joplin residents are also going to be voting on a sales tax question in a couple of weeks. Voters are going to decide whether or not to renew a 1/4-cent sales tax for parks and projects and stormwater improvements. Residents originally passed the initiative back in 2001 and renewed it in 2011. It's now set to expire, though, at the end of March next year.
There's money now with this renewal for stormwater to maintain a lot of the ditches and runoff areas that make our stormwater system work efficiently, and that money is also set aside in the stormwater portion.
This election, again, is going to take place on August 3rd. A shooting in a popular area in the nation's capital left people running for their lives last night. The incident drawing attention to the rising crime not only in D.C., but in major cities throughout the country. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in Washington with the growing safety concerns as the Biden administration tries to crack down on illegal gun trafficking.
Chairs on the ground, empty tables. This popular spot in D.C. abandoned after gunshots sent people running Thursday night. 2 people now recovering from gunshot wounds. The shooting follows a violent weekend in the nation's capital.
This should be shocking to the conscience of every person in our city. I don't care where you live.
The city's police chief and mayor partly blaming illegal guns on the streets for the violence. Nationwide shootings in major cities are up. A 10% increase in Chicago year to date, a 22% jump in New York, and a 44% spike in LA compared to the same time last year. The crime rate prompting federal action.
We in the federal government have to do everything we can in cooperation with our state and local partners to bring that violence down.
D.C., along with New York, San Francisco, L.A., and Chicago, will now see strike forces, teams launched by the Justice Department to curb the flow of illegal guns. The White House defending the approach.
We're just implementing our strategy, which is a multi-pronged effort to work in partnership with local leaders.
D.C.'s police chief also pointing to the flaws in the criminal justice system as part of the problem.
We have a vicious cycle of bad actors who do things, no accountability, and they end up back in community.
Courthouses throughout the country are struggling with a backlog of cases after shutting down because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Chicago and D.C.'s mayors now calling for courts to reopen. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes its time now to honor another 4-state hero. James Dunlavey served in his Navy from 1942 to 45. Native of Pittsburgh, Dunlavey was stationed in the Philippines, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute pharmacist mate James Dunlavey. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, the 10 and under Kansas Little League state tournament continuing with another semifinals matchup.
Well, it turned out to be a hotter day for us today. Temperatures into the lower 90s during the afternoon. We haven't been into the 90s for a couple weeks. We've been mainly just kind of hanging into the 80s, even though it's been warm, but today officially hot. across the entire four-state area. A great live shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Still, the sky is a little bit hazy, as we still have a little bit of smoke out there from those fires that have been out to the west. All right, upper 80s yesterday, lower 70s during the morning hours, and then we popped up into the lower 90s for highs today. It's still pretty good. Most of us near 80. Missouri, Arkansas, and then into the lower 80s, Oklahoma, and then once you get into southeastern Kansas. But I do think most of us will drop back 72, 73 a little bit later on tonight. Still a little bit of a heat index with the humidity, so it still feels like 85 to about 87 degrees across the region. And as we go into the overnight hours for us tonight, it looks like we'll clear out. It looks pretty good. Nothing really showing up on the radar except a little bit of ground clutter, and that is just about it. Any showers out across southeastern parts of Missouri or down to our south across parts of Arkansas. And then, of course, you get the monsoon, which is always going during the summer months, all the afternoon thunderstorms out across the Rockies. You can see this little spin out across parts of New Mexico, and that it's kind of fired up these little random showers that we've had over the past couple days. Let's go through time for us tonight. We're going to drop back lower 70s. We'll have pretty much clear skies. Partly cloudy skies during the afternoon tomorrow, and again we could have a hit or miss isolated little thunderstorm, but temperatures are going to get even hotter. We'll start at 72, 89 by noon, high temp at 94, south wind is going to be light at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, pretty much clear skies. Again, we'll drop back mid-70s, and then as we go into Sunday, we do it again. We heat up mid-90s, a few isolated little afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. Plus, our heat indices are going to be up there. The way it actually feels, about 100 to 105 for us tomorrow, and then again, about 100 to 105 once again by the time we head into Sunday. By Monday, Sunday night into Monday, we'll have a little better chance to get some scattered showers or thunderstorms, a little bit more widespread. But if we just kind of look through next week, so we're going to Tuesday, we go into Wednesday, you can see the heat really doesn't go anywhere. Just sticks around over the next week or so. 94 tomorrow, 96 on Sunday, 95 on Monday. Random little isolated thunderstorms, a little bit more widespread. Late Sunday into Monday. Look at the heat, upper 80 or upper 90s Wednesday and Thursday. We can even glance into next weekend. No changes. We hold into the 90s.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that humidity now, too.
Yeah, it's kind of ramped up a little bit.
Yeah. All right, man, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much. After 29 days of searching for victims of the Surfside building collapse, first responders of Florida Task Force 1 and 2 headed back to their stations today. Before leaving, right there, the first responders stopped by the memorial wall to pay their respects to the lives lost in that collapse. Part of the Champlain Towers South came down in the early morning hours of June 24th. Officials are still trying to determine the exact cause of the building collapse. As the height of the pandemic fades into the rearview mirror, the economy seems to be revving up, running on all cylinders. That's good news for workers, of course, but there are some warning signs still ahead. Fox's Mike Emanuel has a story from D.C.
The American economy starting to sizzle as it emerges from the pandemic, and workers' paychecks are too, with businesses practically begging for help. Shake Shack says it's spending $10 million to raise wages and give hiring bonuses, while White Castle is reaching out to thousands of past applicants.
A lot of people were surprised to be contacted, as you might imagine, and some have been able to share that they moved on to other things, but didn't mind being contacted. Others, came in and signed up.
What's holding workers back? Some business owners say they're still having to compete against the federal government for workers, something Republicans warned of when Congress boosted unemployment checks.
They're giving out $300 weekly bonuses still to keep people from going to work.
Those checks are set to stop in September, not soon enough for 26 states that already pulled the plug on them.
The truth is, if you actually pay better wages and pay benefits in a post-COVID world, you will make hires. That being said, people now have different choices.
But there's a flip side to all the raises, and that's inflation. Prices rising at the fastest rate since 2008. Everything from washing machines up almost 30% to furniture up 11% and TVs up 8%.
Companies are discovering they can go ahead and hike prices at will.
The White House says these price hikes are temporary, but there are still supply chain issues across a number of industries that need to be worked out. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Coming up, you may want to look into the sky before a certain amusement ride throws you into the sky, and next thing you know, you get walloped across the face. Oh goodness. More on this when we come back. Rides come excitement, thrills, and the occasional bird to the face. At least that was the experience for one teen girl in Jersey. The girl, Kylie, was visiting Maurice Piers in Wildwood with her friend Georgia when they decided to go on the Spring Shot ride, which catapults riders 75 miles into the air. Then that happened. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. A few minutes after takeoff, they picked up an extra passenger, shall we say, mid-air. And Kylie is hit right in the face by a seagull. Oh goodness. Amid all the screaming, though, her friends right next to her seemingly oblivious to what just happened. Kylie says she got the bird off. No one was hurt. The girls say they have no plans to go on that ride again. Ever again. Been there, done that, huh? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
There is plenty of summer fun to be had here on the waterways in the four-state area, but if you use those waterways to cross state lines, things could get complicated. Details are coming up.
Some fully vaccinated Americans are contracting COVID-19. It's true. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on breakthrough cases and why health officials say it's actually proof that the vaccines are still highly effective. That's just ahead.
People in the four-state area love having fun on those rivers and waterways, but laws on the water can change from state to state, and that can become an issue for kayakers who cross state lines. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks to learn more.
Many consider the four-state area to be synonymous with summer fun, and that can be seen in the large number of locals and visitors who love to get out on the water. But in an area where crossing state lines can happen so frequently, the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks wants kayakers to be cognizant about the rules of the river, which can vary by state.
In Kansas, our laws are different than in Missouri or Oklahoma, and in Kansas, our rivers and streams, except for the Arkansas, the Arkansas, the Missouri and the Kansas rivers, which are navigable rivers, everything else is basically privately owned, and you need permission to be able to be on that water.
The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks says they deal with this issue every summer and would like to help folks who just want to have fun on the water avoid getting in trouble.
If you're on property without permission, you're trespassing. So, yes, that can get a person in trouble even if they're unknowing about the laws.
But the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks doesn't want people thinking the Sunflower State is unwelcoming to kayakers, which is why they've made special arrangements in Fort Scott.
We have leased, under the walk-in fishing program, part of the Marmonton River, which is from an area at Rock Creek upstream of Fort Scott all the way down to Gun Park. If people are interested in kayaking and paddling, a real river in Kansas, and close, the Marmonton River is a great opportunity.
In Fort Scott, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
If you're interested in learning about local kayaking or river safety in general, the Joplin Kayak and Canoe Facebook page is a great place to start. We've got a link to them in this article on KOAMnewsnow.com. A unique art gallery is celebrating its 5th anniversary in a unique way, shall we say. People have a chance to visit ARTFORMS Gallery. It's over in Pittsburgh. Check out wood-themed projects by local artists. The open house continues tomorrow from 2 to 4 p.m. Also Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m.
Well, we've definitely impacted by giving a lot of classes and expanding other people's availability to the art world. And we have so many different mediums around, so it really gives a very diverse variety for them to look at.
ARTFORMS Gallery is at 620 North Broadway, again in Pittsburgh. A new motocross track is coming to Southwest Missouri. Bo Johnson's grandkids took some time today, as we're seeing right there, to enjoy riding some mini bikes. Part of why he's building the four-state moto complex. It's going to be located between Joplin and Neosho, just south of Iris Road. For an outdoors family, giving area riders somewhere to go is ideal.
I have 5 of the greatest grandkids in the world, and all of them happen to be boys. So anything that we could do as a business to get the community children involved, I'm excited about that. It makes me feel good.
Bo hopes to have the full facility done with a grand opening by late spring of next year. Eventually, he wants to have races out there as well as a place for anyone to ride. Bo does point out, though, that there's going to be no nighttime riding, and he's going to have seasonal business hours. For now, it's just for his grandchildren, though, to test out the Four-State Moto Complex. Again, Four-State Moto Complex is a Facebook page. Go ahead and check it out for updates. A woman in Northeast Oklahoma is spreading positivity through signs she set up throughout her community. Vanna King is an advocate for suicide prevention and PTSD awareness. She's been creating signs with positive messages written on them, putting them around Grove. Her work is part of a project she created called Stay.
You know, I don't know the personal stories behind it until I heard today, which are great. But for me personally, just spreading positivity is a great idea. It's great for our community. It's great for our employees. The feedback we've gotten has been outstanding.
Vanna says she eventually wants the Stay project to grow beyond just Northeast Oklahoma and to spread positivity across the country. Well, fully vaccinated Americans are still getting COVID-19, but health officials say so far it's not a major cause for concern. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has more on why medical experts say these rare instances are only showcasing how important vaccines truly are.
New COVID-19 cases are on the rise, tripling over the past 2 weeks, especially in areas with low vaccination rates. But now health officials are trying to calm nerves surrounding COVID-19 breakthrough cases when a fully vaccinated person contracts the virus.
We are still at war with the virus.
So far, breakthrough cases are rare, but they do happen. At least 2 fully vaccinated Washington, D.C. political staffers tested positive for the coronavirus this week alone.
It's certainly gotten people concerned about the possibility for more infection.
And it's a phenomenon that could become more common, especially due to the more highly contagious forms of the virus, like the Delta variant.
It's going to make even the average healthy person sick now.
But breakthrough cases don't mean the vaccines aren't effective. In fact, the shots let the body develop an immunity to COVID-19 so it can help fight it off if you're exposed. If anything, health officials say these instances show just how important vaccines are as they keep people from getting seriously ill and dying.
Our vaccines that we're using in this country are very effective, I point out, to the situation regarding advanced disease leading to hospitalizations and deaths, where it's still well in the 90% of effectiveness.
Currently, medical experts say breakthrough cases are not a threat. However, if their numbers continue to rise, especially if they go up sharply, they also suggest that maybe vaccinated Americans should strongly consider COVID-19 booster shots to further protect themselves. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
A bit later, our four-state staycation series continues with the Fort Scott Historic Driving Tour.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a hot and humid Friday, but a pretty good Friday for us today. We have partly sunny skies across the region. The sun is just set. Looks good right now. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But it looks good. I think we'll have pretty much clear skies as we go through the rest of the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, temperatures have been heating up. We went upper 80s yesterday. We dropped back into lower 70s. And then today, we went up to 91 degrees. Today was actually the first time that we've hit 90 in about 2 weeks, which is kind of crazy because it's been warm. It just hasn't been hot. As of right now, 81 Nevada, 77 in Monette, 81 in Anderson, Grand Lake at 81, 83 in Parsons, Yates Center is checking in at 80, Independence sitting at 79 degrees, and still even a little bit of a heat index. Makes it feel like it's in the mid 80s across the region, but it looks pretty good. Here's 7th and Rangeline. We have clear skies right now, currently outside. sitting at 81. South winds are light. Dew point is 72. Relative humidity is at 74%. Had a few random tiny little showers earlier today. These are gone. The only thing really popping up on the radar is just a little bit of ground clutter, and it looks fine for the rest of the night. You can see we had some scattered thunderstorms back to the east, southeastern parts of Missouri, pretty much falling apart. Besides that, we look good. We got the monsoon going back behind us, out across the Central Rockies, down through New Mexico and Arizona, which is very typical for this time of the year. And we have a couple little, you can see a little twist or two. These are very weak upper level waves, and that's why we've had a few random showers kind of pop up over the past couple days. All right, let's step through time. Tonight, we're going to go down into lower 70s as we head into Saturday. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. If you're going to be outside, especially mid to late afternoon, make sure you drink plenty of water because the humidity is going to be high. 89 by noon, high temp and 94, south winds at 5 to 10, and there's going to be a random isolated shower or two that tries to pop up. Tomorrow night, pretty much partly cloudy skies, and then as we go into Sunday, we'll have partly sunny skies once again, and a few isolated little thunderstorms will try to pop up once again as we go into the afternoon hours. Look at our heat indices, near 100 tomorrow, about 100 to 105 across the region, and our heat index high again by the time we head into Sunday afternoon. We are going to get some better chances for rain moving in here late Sunday into Monday, meaning just a little bit more widespread across the region, but still, we don't have a lot of rain coming toward us anytime soon. 94 tomorrow, 96 on Sunday, 95 on Monday, and then we just hold into the mid to upper 90s for the next week.
As you said, drink plenty of water.
Yeah, if you're going to be outside, you need to.
Definitely. Okay, thanks so much. After decades of protests by Native Americans and others, Major League Baseball's team in Cleveland is going to retire its name, the Indians, after this season. The team announced in December that its first name change since 1915 was coming. After this season, the team is becoming the Cleveland Guardians, as we see the logo right there. All right, coming up in sports, the Outlaws beginning their final series of the regular season. Also, Riverton and Cherokee 10 and under squaring off in an elimination game in the state tournament. Danny Terzer has those highlights next.
Three athletes with Montgomery County ties are competing in the Tokyo Olympics. Patrick Collin is on Team USA's 4x20 relay swim team. Callan attended independent schools. He's a 12-time Oklahoma state champion and holds 8 OHSAA state records. Andre DeGrassi is competing for Team Canada in the 100 and 200 meter dashes and the 4x100 relay. The former Coffeyville Red Raven is a 5-time NJCAA champion. And Anca Stoneascu is representing Romania in the 3-on-3 basketball competition. She played for the Independence Pirates and received second-team All-Conference recognition in the 2000-2001 season. The Outlaws have 2 games remaining on their regular season schedule and are currently 17-20. They wrap things up with a quick road series against the Jefferson City Renegades. Tonight, a Renegades 3-run home run puts them out on top late in this game. Outlaws with 11 hits and just 2 runs. Cam Pfaffman and Ethan Ellis have RBI. The 10U Kansas Little League State Tournament continues. Tonight, it's an elimination game between Riverton and Cherokee. The winner advances to face Pittsburgh in the championship. A big inning for Riverton. Easton Adler gets things started, knocks it through the gap. Mason Kinsley and Braden Ogle score. And then Levi Kinsley with an RBI single. That brings Adler home. The same inning, Adler back at the plate. He hits a chopper that scores 2 more. Riverton up 9-0 after the first. And into the second now, Braden Ogle gets a base hit. Mason Kinsley scores to make it 13-3. Riverton wins this one comfortably, 21-6. The Cardinals hit the road for an important 3-game series against the Reds. They are neck and neck in the division standings, but the Reds are leading the regular season series 6-4. In the opener tonight, Cincinnati just took the lead 6-5 now. Paul Goldschmidt launches a 448-foot homer. Harrison Bader also with a solo shot. The Royals also begin a division series tonight, hosting the Tigers. Kansas City took the lead in the 4th and have been hanging on to it since. It's 5-3 in the 8th. Ryan O'Hearn has a 3-run jack. I'm back with more news after this.
Not the destination. Same can be said about travel. Sometimes the drive can be just as rewarding. For our next 4-state staycation, KOAM photojournalist Liam Mandelbaum takes us to Fort Scott for their historic driving tour, where the town's vintage beauty is on full display.
We are right here on the historic brick streets of Fort Scott, Kansas. We have some homes that you will not be able to find in every community. Some of them are owned by Fort Scott natives, but such as this one behind me, we're fortunate that people have moved here from out of town. This couple moved here really simply for the home. The historic tour of Fort Scott starts out from the Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Center, takes you through our historic downtown, most of which all of the buildings are on the National Register of Historic Places. We have a trolley tour that runs on Friday and Saturdays by appointment, or we have a driving tour brochure that's available if people just want to tour on their own and check out the notable architecture of the historic homes, most of which were built in the late 1800s. So it is really neat to hear from visitors when they come in, how do you get your downtown revived like this? All the buildings, our downtown has just really had a resurgence in the past few years, and they're just like, how do you do it? How do you get people to take pride in the community? And we're blessed for that. You just can't build things like this today and replicate some of the things that they built back then, and the stories behind them as well.
Pretty cool. We have a map of the tour's route in this story on our morning show page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Going to get some behind the scenes of a new revenge thriller now streaming when we come back. Beckinsale is back in action, star mode for a new revenge thriller now streaming, but with a sharp sense of humor and an electric new concept. Fox's Ashley DeVorkin has preview of Jolt with Kate and cast.
I've got this condition. Kate Beckinsale leads Amazon Prime Video's Jolt as a woman managing a rare rage disorder with an electric shock device until a man she falls in love with is murdered.
Was there a lot of consideration in terms of what a role had to have, a leading role, for you to return to the action genre?
I probably wouldn't have done it if it hadn't had a kind of really strong comedy element to it.
Okay, fine.
At that point in my life, I mean, things change from week to week, but I think for me, I think that's one of the things that I find is underrepresented in the, for women to have a lead character who is badass, but is not this kind of perfect sort of robot woman.
The thriller co-stars Stanley Tucci, Susan Sarandon, and brings Laverne Cox into the action.
Fight scenes, chases, throwing babies, just like all of that, which was so much fun.
Jai Courtney gets to show another side.
When we first meet him, we do, and it is. I mean, look, it was great for me to sit back in an action film and just explore a more kind of tender, genuine side.
The action and stunt work even held new ads for Kate.
I fight 3 men at the same time, and one of them had piercings. I did have to pull out a nipple piercing and pull a hand down the pants and pull out a secret piercing. So I've definitely never done that before.
So that's new. Yes, absolutely.
That was definitely new.
And should there be more to the story, she's open to another franchise.
If people respond to a character and they love it, and you at that time love the character, then sure, absolutely.
In Hollywood, Ashley DeVorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a hot air balloon festival in New Jersey. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.